Good morning, everybody from Southern California. And this is Dr. Anthony Chang. I'm hosting another AI Med Talk with a special guest today, Betsy Jones from EBSCO. Before we do that, I just wanted to frame Betsy's brief talk, and we'll have a conversation thereafter. Right now, as a cardiologist and intensivist, I feel for my intensivist colleagues how this battle's pretty hectic on the front lines. And a lot of it's because information, both from the patients as well as the medical literature, is really coming really fast. And I typically quote that medical information from publications double every 70 days right now in 2020. But I do feel like with COVID, Betsy, we were talking about earlier, that it feels like it's doubling every 70 hours, and yet we are sort of, like they say, thirsty in an ocean of information. So welcome to AI Med Talk, and Betsy, I know you have some very exciting projects that are ongoing at EBSCO, and tell us about what you're doing with COVID especially.
Thank you, Dr. Chang. You know, at the end of January, our flagship product, Dynamed, launched its topic on COVID-19. That group is run by Deputy Editor Dr. Vito Iacovelli, who's an infectious disease specialist. He works with a lot of ID specialists and has a very strong team of editors and writers, and they launched that topic. And you know, the unique thing about Dynamed is the fact that we triage all research that's coming in, critically appraise it, and decide what to place on the product. So they've been working around the clock. You know, as you just said, every 70 days is now every 70 hours, every 7 hours kind of a thing, and how much is being published. So we discern, you know, through that critical appraisal, what should be added to our Dynamed topic on COVID-19, and it's been a go-to resource. We made it open access from the beginning, and so we're getting a very significant amount of traffic to that open access topic worldwide. It is also, that topic has been the bedrock to our parent company EBSCO, creating an open access portal. EBSCO is extremely strong in the libraries around the world, so we push that open access portal out to medical libraries and other, and it really aggregates all the key resources for librarians, researchers, you know, clinicians, providers. And then separately, our COVID topic plus a bolus of our infectious disease content. We're working with our partner IBM on the IBM Micromedics and Dynamed resource catalog, which is freely available open access on ibm.com. And it brings together both the Dynamed COVID topic, all the infectious disease topics that are related, as well as Micromedics drug monographs, drug consults, and drug patient information. So, you know, we're doing what we can to make sure that all of that content relevant to providers, patients, and other is available in every access point we can possibly get it.
Yeah, no, I think it's, as we were talking about earlier, it's just amazing how companies like yours have really made a rapid pivot towards the pandemic and really sort of all hands on deck working on saving all of our lives. And I think it's been, it feels like all the boundaries between companies have blurred now, and everyone's really focused on that. What's been the early feedback you've gotten from the users of your resource?
Well, I think when it comes to the COVID-19 topic in Dynamed, the fact that we publish 6 times a day has made our topic extremely sticky, because you can depend on us to be taking anything that comes from any of the leading medical journals that gets published and know that it's going to be on product. And so you don't have to go to all those publications, you know, that will critically appraise it and put it on product. Our usage of that particular topic has shot up as, you know, by far the #1 thing that anyone's searching. It's I think more, you know, almost 10% of usage of all the things on the Dynamed product. I think as I think about the portals that have more aggregated information, whether EBSCO's portal or IBM's portal, is just the sheer volume of patients looking for information. You know, can I do this? You know, when I go outside, do I need to wear a face mask? questions that they have about whether they should be calling, a doctor or calling, when they're not feeling well. Things that would be normal as far as how any individual or family member might be feeling, which would be taken as a normal thing that you might just handle. People have fears that it could be symptoms around this. So how do you help them answer questions so that they don't put more pressure and burden on the system that is dealing with the patients that are very sick?
Yeah, and I think in this pandemic, especially since it's a novel coronavirus, that it's particularly challenging because no one's really had experience with this. How do you see information flow from the countries that have had earlier experiences with COVID-19, and how's that pass or flow through other centers, and how do you curate that information in a time sequence?
Well, I don't think that we time necessarily anything that's coming in from any one country differently. There's no filter on how we view that, but certainly as the spikes occurred in Italy and some other places, we saw, an uptick, and so we were doing what we can in countries like Italy to make sure that we were getting our content, again, freely available to providers. And so we were fast in Italy because we have a number of key relationships there with the Health Federation and making sure that our COVID content was getting into the right hands.
Yeah.
It's really about awareness.
Yes. Well, I think the fact that the infection is exponential in most countries, the information flow really has to be, and not to make this pandemic even more complicated, but it does seem like this virus is mutating. So whatever information, clinical information that was in China may not be 100% accurate by the time it hits, countries like this week. So I think it's even more vital that information is flowing very freely and everyone has open access. So any futuristic lessons learned, anything like you like to discuss?
Well, for us, I was so pleased that we were, unfortunately this happened, but we were ready in our own natural operating mechanisms to scale fast to this. We have full publishing teams and full clinical deputy editors who focus in their respective areas, and it didn't take but a heartbeat for our infectious disease team to put all their effort onto this and get up and publishing, very quickly. So that was good. I think the big question is when are the spikes happening in what regions? Hopefully all of this, staying indoors and the quarantines that we're all doing are going to help, slow the curve, flatten the curve. The other side effects to this are going to be so big from financial, job market, and the burden that's being put on the healthcare system is, going to be huge in the aftermath of this. We have a lot of doctors who are our, clinical editors, and they're doing, double and triple duty as far as continuing to work on our content, work specifically on COVID, as well as working in clinic and serving patients. I know you're a cardiologist. We have a number of physicians full-time with us running publishing groups who are not cardiologists, pulmonologists, infectious disease specialists who are being called into the front lines of this, doing things that they weren't necessarily trained to do. And
no, thank you for your work in this area. Such important work. And I was telling for our audience, I was telling Betsy earlier that public health is like having armor going to battle, which we kind of missed out on the opportunity of, but AI and work like yours gives us really good weapons during the battle. So we, as clinicians, we so appreciate the work that you're doing. So with that, I want to wish everyone well and maintain their health. We'll look forward to our next AI Med Talk. Thank you, Betsy, very much from EBSCO. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Chang. Bye-bye.
Thank you.